Ahoy, mateys, and welcome to Jester Bros Cartoon Travelers, where my brother and I explore the vast and beautiful worlds of animation for the perfect place to call home. And today, we're actually gonna go back to a place that we've technically already been. One of the greatest places in animation that everybody wants to live, which is, of course, the Pokemon world.
Yes. Technically, we did talk about this one time before, but we're going to do something a little special with it this time.
Yeah, the first time we talked about it, we were really talking about what are the actual logistics of living in the world of Pokemon. You know, to be a trainer, to be able to catch Pokemon, to go to get gym badges and battle other trainers, go to Pokemon contests, anything that you could imagine being in the world of Pokemon from a logistical standpoint. We covered it.
Yeah.
And that can be found audio only in the Jester Bros Cartoon Travelers podcast feed that you
Yes.
can get wherever you listen to your podcast. But since then, we've not rebooted, but sort of brought our new season of content to YouTube. And it feels a shame to not have a Pokemon episode on the YouTube version of the show because of how
Yeah.
important this is.
Well, and not just that, but because we covered it expansively already, it gave us so much to work with that we didn't get to talk about a lot of more specific things about Pokemon, which, I mean, you and I both grew up with it, and we're pretty invested, at least until Gen 5, I think. For me, at least.
Yeah, I would say about Generation 5 is the point where I sort of slipped out. You probably made it about that far, and then it
Yeah.
was college time. But my
Yeah.
college was 3 years before, so, that's
Yeah.
sort of how I think it shook out.
Yeah, that's about how it was for me, I think. So I think we want to go into some of the more specific ones. Pokemon's fun. I love it, and we get to talk about our favorite Pokemon now from each generation.
Yeah, so listen, when it comes to living in the Pokemon world, spoiler alert, we established it's cool.
Yes,
The idea
obviously.
of being a Pokemon trainer, of being able to catch Pokemon, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
But the idea of actually living in this original world of Pokemon from the first season, the Kanto region is what it's called. There's actually a ton to talk about in terms of the actual towns and cities that are there and the landscapes.
Yeah.
And the different things that you can do that you can't possibly cover by talking about the whole world. So I think this is going to be a really interesting way to go through it.
And we have been playing fan-made ROM hacks of the Pokemon games lately, and they are very fun. So I'm also going to probably tie some game stuff into this just because I can't help it. I play a lot of Pokemon. I love Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, even though I'm going to be talking about the anime today, technically, and I'm going to tell you about all of the towns and what all of them are like.
Yeah.
I'm going to be saying it from the lens of this is a podcast about cartoons. We can only explore the world of animation, but I'm going to have the video game in my head because I'm just so much more familiar with it.
Well, I want to play with the video game too, because part of the thing I love about the Pokemon world is like the music of I literally played the Hoenn background music to fall asleep last night. Legitimately, just because it was nice. I don't really even sleep with music most of the time. It's just that good. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so, stuff like that. I want to talk about the music. I love pixel animation too. And I am going to factor that in as well because I want to.
Definitely. Okay. So here's how I want to start this conversation. And maybe we can start the conversation this way if we go to other regions in the future.
Okay.
You wake up and you're about to go on your Pokemon journey. And this is very assumptuous in the first place because I am interested in how you think your journey would take place. But suspend all disbelief for a moment.
Okay.
And you get to Professor Oak's office.
Yes.
I don't know if office is the right word. What, like
his office,
lab?
his lab. Yeah, his lab. That's
his
right.
laboratory. And he says, "Hey Lou, I'm so happy that you are now at the age where you can take your starter Pokemon. I have
a bad feeling that I'm about to start doing a lot of labor for an old man."
I have 3 Pokemon here, and these are the originals that everybody knows. It is Squirtle,
Yes.
Bulbasaur,
I see.
or Charmander.
I was kind of hoping I was going to get more options than that, but fair. That is how we would start.
So, well, and I want you to answer that question. And then in the back of your mind, I also am interested in a wild card pick. let's say that maybe you could pick pretty much any starter, what that would be. But first, I think
Okay.
everybody needs to know who's your pick.
Yeah. You know, yeah, I have a solid answer for this for every single other Pokemon generation except this one. This one is
one's hard.
so hard for me, genuinely, because I like every design. And when I play the game strategically, I tend to go Venusaur just because the poison grass double advantage is really nice. But like Charizard's pret's cool. I just don't want to answer Charizard because then I'm basic.
Yeah.
But Charizard's pretty cool. Okay, you know what? I want to just open this up for conversation. Because the first, second, and third evolution, I think, have different winners in terms of which one's the coolest. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Because first, I gotta go with Bulbasaur. Right?
Okay.
Or, yeah. First one, I'd go with Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur's just cute little guy. He's got the little tendrils. I don't know. The bulb is kind of a cool design. Second one, I think Charmeleon is really cool.
Oh, all right.
What do you think for middle generation?
Yeah, actually, so I like Ivysaur the least.
Yeah.
I think Bulbasaur, I do also like him the most.
Yeah.
More,
Yeah.
when they are at the basic stage. And Charmeleon and Wartortle, it's close. I actually do like Wartortle. And I know that we're in the weeds a little bit because I think you could ask anybody on the street, they're going to know who the 3 Pokemon starters are, but you might lose them when you start talking about Wartortle.
You know what? I wanted to ask anyway. I'm just curious.
And Charizard, I think, is kind of the presumptive favorite for the...
Yeah, I gotta say, I understand the Venusaur lovers, but he's kind of an ugly frog, a little bit. I just being honest.
I love frogs, though.
I do too.
Even though I don't really see him as a frog. So
I'd go with
either
Charmander.
Way,
I would go with Charmander. At the end of the day,
I'm a water Pokemon guy for the most part. But this is a little bit interesting because this experiment that we're doing, it really doesn't matter what we pick because we're not playing the video game. We're in the animated world, and you can catch the ones that you decide not to pick.
Yes.
So this is the implications, and we're like, who do you want to be your friend first and foremost? And for that reason, I do think I would pick Squirtle.
Or somebody we just put in a computer for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. In the video game, you know that you pick one of these 3, and it's going to be very hard to get the other one.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing Pokemon Yellow, but I won't go down that rabbit hole.
Pokemon Yellow is a great game, just throwing that out there.
So good.
In ways for its time.
Now, so I would pick Squirtle based on the precipice of I want to pick the one that I identify with the most and not be thinking too much about how it's going to work for my roster.
I mean, you got a good choice.
Yeah. And the second question is, what is your spirit Pokemon from that first group that you would just love to start with and be like,
Gen 1?
This is Gen 1.
Oh, yo, it's so funny, the timing. I actually I have a new tattoo. Bam. If I can even... It's Mew.
Oh.
Did I not show you this?
I don't think I've seen it, no.
Yeah,
congratulations.
I have a new tattoo. I got a buddy that does tattoos in Portland.
That's amazing. It looks great. I made a mistake here by telling you any Pokemon, though. That is a legendary. You can't start with a legendary.
I know, but I mean, I'm just being honest. I love Mew. Mew is my sole Pokemon from this generation. I love Mew. Okay. Because he's just a little, cosmic fairy guy. You know?
Sure. Yes. That's great. My Pokemon that I always loved, I said this at the first podcast that we did here, I love Krabby. I just have an affinity for Krabby.
You do.
And if I was just picking one to be my buddy right out of the gate, I could see myself rolling up with a Krabby everywhere that I went. Yeah.
Wait, didn't you choose Squirtle for your starter?
Well, yeah, but I'm under the impression that...
Bro, your team is gonna suck.
Well, hang on. I've got more to say about this. So I'm assuming that instead of Squirtle, instead of one of the typical starters, that I were to start with a Krabby. In this thought experiment. So if you had to pick something else outside of the main core, you have something in mind.
No, I won't. I'm gonna find Mew and we're gonna become friends later. That's gonna be part of my story. So I won't start with them.
Okay, so Charmander is fine for you.
Let's see. Gen 1 Soul Read. That's tough.
And I know this seems ridiculous to say if you are somebody who follows Pokemon, but we have some people that just like listening to this regardless of what the episodes are. We're referring to Generation, as in the original set of 150 Pokemon that started this whole thing.
Yeah, every couple years they release a new batch of Pokemon and have a new set of games and stuff. And yeah, we're counting by that. So in the first 151,
right.
You know, I actually don't have a lot of favorites from Gen 1 when I really think about it.
Well, and that makes this interesting, especially when we decide at the end, do we want to live here?
Easy, Gengar. 100%. I'd get a Ghastly.
You'd start with a Ghastly. That's a great choice.
Yeah.
It's got 3 different evolutions.
Yeah.
I think if you're in the anime and not in the video game, you don't have to worry about the way they evolve as much.
Yeah.
Because in the video game, you have to trade your Haunter or you've got to trade for a Haunter. And then it evolves when it trades, which is very annoying.
There's no way it works like that in the world. That'd be wild.
No, I don't think it does. And prove me if I'm wrong in the comments. Speaking of the comments,
your Pokemon needs abandonment issues to evolve.
Literally. Please tell me. I want to say this earlier than I usually do. Let us know what worlds you would like to see explored.
Yeah.
Go
to the comments.
Yeah, pretend like I am putting together a wheel of all of the ideas that we should talk about. And it's okay if you accidentally say something that we've already covered.
We should make a wheel, and then we should spin the wheel at the beginning of our episode.
So, yes, there's something that would technically be like plagiarism about that because of a podcast I listen to that already does it.
Oh, okay.
But we could do something similar. And I've thought about that, but the problem is I have never gotten a good selection of ideas.
Oh, so yeah. Let us know in the comments what we should cover. That's a great idea.
Are interested, it doesn't have to be Pokemon. Or if you're listening to the podcast, feel free to send a Discord message or go on to the YouTube video and leave the comment. That's fine.
Yeah.
What do you want to hear us talk about? We don't know about everything, but we know about a lot of different animated shows.
And we can even do stuff that we don't know about. It'll just be funny and we'll be wrong about a lot of things.
Yeah, we'll have to just acknowledge that we know very little.
Yeah.
Watch one episode and act like we're experts.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone will hate it. I love that idea.
We've gotten that in iTunes reviews too. That's another way that you can leave them. And we've talked about covering some of those from the people who have left us feedback.
Yes.
So.
If you leave us a 5-star review, we're even probably more likely to recommend or to
100%
to watch the thing you recommend or talk about it.
All right. Great. So we sort of established how we would start. Now, for those of you that don't know the individual Pokemon as well, let's start to talk about the towns and the cities that you may have as an option. And I'm going to just go one by one. Some I think that we're going to have a lot to say, some that we're probably not going to have as much. Just the way that the game starts, the way that the anime starts, they go through the same places. So this is going to be consistent. And we're starting in Pallet Town. Do you want to talk about Pallet Town a little bit?
The palette for the paint colors. I love the color theme of this. Pallet Town isn't Pallet Town just kind of your like small country town in the forest?
Yeah, there's barely anybody that lives there. It does have Professor Oak's lab, and if you're following the same rules as the show, all of the Pokemon that you catch beyond your original 6 will end up kind of at this haven at Professor Oak's lab, where they just sort of hang out and get taken care of, because you can only have 6 at a time.
Yes.
I think that's really the only thing that there is at Pallet Town, other than it's a small town feel. When the show starts out, there is something very charming about it. We've talked about places that have the small town thing going on this podcast before.
Yeah.
And I think that usually we always say the same thing, which is like, okay, there's something nice and homey about it, but it's still kind of limiting in terms of the kind of thing that we would like to do here.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of, in a way, it's antithesis to how we're going into this, too. Because our whole idea is let's travel a bunch of crazy cartoon wacky universes and, do the fun thing. So small town vibe usually doesn't cut it. Unless it's like Hilda. It can.
Right. If there's something mystical about it, it's a total game changer. Because then you're getting the vibe of it while also getting that extra piece of magic that you're kind of looking for.
Yeah.
But Pallet Town, I don't think, is going to make the list when you know that there's all these places in Pokemon that are just going to have more Pokemon for you to catch, more things for you to see.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh,
now
I have the
starting
descriptions
there,
of the towns pulled out for those that are interested. So I'm going to read them for when we go through them. Pallet Town, a fairly new and quiet town. It's a small and pretty place. Not nice.
that's all.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's very bless her heart energy.
They're all like that. They're all just like one line. It's like this is
Good.
the tourism page that I just found for the
That's
Kanto region.
That is incredible for a podcast. Wow, give us
Yeah.
the sound bites.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's go to Viridian City.
On the
Um,
road to Viridian City. You remember that song? I don't know if it was
I
Viridian.
sure-
It was that or
is.
Cerulean or Vermilion. It was one of them.
It was Viridian, and
Yeah.
you can find that soundtrack on Spotify, and I highly recommend it.
Yes. Love the music of Pokemon. A beautiful city that is enveloped in green year round.
Sure.
It's not bad. It's a step up from Pallet Town. It's closer to stuff.
Yeah, Viridian City has technically the first gym that you would be allowed to battle at to get a gym badge.
Yes.
But if you're in the video game, or I think even if you are in the anime,
Oh no, it's not. Technically, it's not the first gym because it's
right, you do it last.
Yeah. Okay.
It's in theory, and
Oh, so
the
technically,
game's
you have a
designed that way.
mob boss that's the gym leader of that town. So I don't know if that's a good choice.
That's right. He is also like the leader of Team Rocket. I have no interest in Viridian City just because I find it a little bit boring.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
No,
same.
it's pretty. It's pretty. It's just even when they go there, I feel like there's not a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's just other than this one gym, you kind of have a couple routes to get places. You don't have a lot else.
Yes.
Uh
Next one.
yeah, well, I'll say that you can take the Viridian Forest to get to your next place, and that has a lot of bug
Oh.
Pokemon, so there's a little bit there.
The Viridian Forest is cool. That's chill. I like that. I'm glad you brought that out.
Yeah, not a big bug Pokemon guy personally.
I like the
but
forest in
mentioned.
Gen 2 better too, because Celebi's in it.
Yeah, that's true, and I'm excited to talk about
Next
the
one.
second generation. if
Me
we get a chance.
too. I'm so excited.
Uh,
I watched a 6-hour video that was just information about that generation.
Oh my,
was
I
really
would
good.
not have the time for something like that.
It was really good.
So you get to Pewter City. This one's interesting to me because this has the museum of the game with all
Yes.
of these gemstones and fossils. And there's a
Yes.
mechanism that if you take a fossil to this place, then they can sort of put it in their machine and turn it into the Pokemon itself.
A quiet city nestled between rugged mountains and rocks.
I love Pewter City.
I like Pewter City too. That's a good choice.
It's like the more there, I feel like there's a bell curve here where the more populated it gets, it's good for a while, and then I'm like, okay, now it's too populated, and I'm now less interested. And Pewter City is in a good place for me. It's got enough going on. I love a museum. I think if you love gemstones and you love searching for that, then you're in a really good spot if you go here. I think future generations might even have better spots if you're just looking for cool rocks and fossils. But this is a good start.
Yes. And I think you get to kick it with Brock.
That's right.
That's
Brock,
kind of a cool note, you know?
he's the gym leader for Pewter City, and
'Cause-
he'd be very fun to meet.
Yeah. In the game, I know technically we're doing the cartoon, and in the cartoon he leaves Pewter City, so... But in the game he doesn't, so... you
Yeah,
know.
true. Pick your poison.
Yeah.
Also, we have Diglett Cave nearby. Do you ever have a desire to just go through a cave with a whole bunch of Diglets?
I think I think that more people should be disturbed by Diglett than they are.
Sure.
personally.
You want to describe what a Diglett is for people?
I wish I could. It's like a toe sticking out of the ground with eyes.
And a little nose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is
and then
that
it
even a
evolved.
nose? Is that a nose? What? It's a circle. That's for sure.
And then when it evolves, now there's just 3 of them, but meaner.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder what's going on under the ground. We don't know if they have feet. We do know they have feet. Canonically.
Oh, okay. Good.
Because in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team, there is a very, in retrospect, strange thing where you have to analyze the footprints Wow, I didn't realize how weird this was in retrospect. But you had to analyze the footprints of different Pokemon to like verify their identity. Do you remember this?
No, but this was a game that you played a lot more than I.
In the rescue team games, you have your like headquarters, and you literally stand underneath the walkway to the base, and Pokemon walk over it, and you have to, as opposed to just looking at them and seeing what species they are with your eyes, the way that they do it is they stand under them, look up at their feet, and identify them by their feet by looking at like a roster of different Pokemon footprints.
Wow, fascinating.
Yes.
Well,
and apparently Diglett has footprints, so they have feet. So that's why I said that.
there you go. I mean, I think that if you're in Pewter City, the archaeological thing is actually very much on the table. I could see you being somebody who's going into Diglett Cave, trying to do some investigating, find their footprints.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that last part, but I mean, going for fossils, I would go for that. Seems cool.
Yeah. I wish it had a little bit more of a flair to it in terms of being like a true mining town or something that gave it just a little bit of extra.
Like Gen 4, I think, goes into that, right?
I think. But if you do get farther in, I think you start getting into Mount Moon, which has moonstones, and there's a bit of a space tie-in a little bit.
Yeah. I like that. The Clefairy thing with the moonstone and space. I'm into that. That works.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the cool things about being in Kanto is that you are at the earliest precipice of what is actually a very interesting scientific endeavor. You've got all of these 150 creatures. There's more in other places, but there's very little that you know. Like, if you're somebody who's just seeking knowledge, the idea of catching all the Pokemon or just getting them all in your Pokedex, seeing one of everything, is a pretty cool idea. I mean, we've even explored that idea for other places. Or other cartoons. The idea of, let's just go find everything.
And you know what I'm adding to my story at least? You can add it to yours if you want.
Sure.
We were there on the day that Ash Ketchum saw Ho-Oh flying around, and we saw him in the sky too. So we know that there's another one out there that's also not in the 151 Pokedex.
Okay, you're saying we can drop in that day.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, I love it. That's fantastic.
I think that's cool.
All right. I like this so far. When you go through Mount Moon, you get to a place called Celadon City. And this is kind of your first... You know, it's not actually quite by the water side. It feels like it would be because there's a water gym leader with a lot of water Pokemon.
It's by the river. It's actually right by where Mewtwo lives, too. Remember the cave?
That's
right above it is where Mewtwo lives. I've been playing the map of this Pokemon game recently, so I actually have it very fresh in my head.
Sure. I love parts of Celadon City. I like the vibe of it, but I do sort of feel as though it's kind of more of a farm city.
No. A beautiful city with flowing water and blooming flowers.
All right. Sure. So the water is there. I'm glad that we're getting water. I love water.
Yeah, it's not beachside though. You're right about that.
Right.
It feels like it would be.
There are it always threw me. As a kid, I feel like I have an association with it being more beachy.
Isn't that Vermilion? Yeah, I think Vermilion is waterside.
Yeah, and that one's going to be interesting. In fact, we can talk about that. Unless you have more to say about Celadon.
Not really. I don't. Other than Mewtwo being close by, which is kind of cool, because there's that cave with all those. There's pretty cool Pokemon in that cave. Other than that, I don't think I have any interesting notes.
You can get a bicycle there if you like that.
Yeah, you could steal it from Misty.
Yeah, that's true. If you're actually thinking about being in the cartoon itself, that's a valid option.
Yeah, yes, it is. No, I don't think I've got anything. I've got notes that I'm pulling up now.
Great. Okay, yeah, let's talk about Vermilion. You've got your little soundbite.
A southern city that is bathed in orange by the setting sun. Ooh, that's a good one. That one sounded nice. Here's the thing. I just went to the beach recently for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of hate the beach.
I think about this a lot. Do I love the beach or do I hate the beach?
I know, right? Every time I go, I remember that I actually don't like it that much. It's always fun in theory, and then it's always really cold and windy, and sand is blowing everywhere, and sand gets everywhere. I still have sand everywhere right now, just in my house, because the beach just comes with you. No, the beach kind of sucks. I would not want to live at the beach.
Right. The thing that I wrestle with, Lou, am I somebody who likes the beach, or am I somebody that identifies with beach culture and enjoys the chill nature of it?
I know, I feel that. I do. Because I'm like, oh yeah, I'll like, I'll get in a lawn chair and drink a Corona and just sit in the sun and read a book or something. But I don't. I just, hang out and dance and spin poi or do whatever I do, same I would anywhere else. And
right
now it's just windy and I'm sunburned.
I love nautical things. I love ships and anchors. I love the aesthetic of that.
Yeah.
And
you're gonna love the Hoenn region.
Yeah. It throws me off. To be honest, I actually do think I love the beach. I have good memories of swimming in the ocean. As an adult, it becomes less interesting than it was. I don't hate sand.
I like the beach in Florida. The Pacific Ocean's just very cold.
Sure, I need to find the right beach, and it needs to be the right day. Because a lot of the time, it's just overcast and windy and cold. And
is
like,
Vermilion that? They did say there's an orange glow.
It looks more beautiful to me. Now, the cool thing about Vermilion is that it has a dock where the cruise is set. And you've got your SS Aqua, which is a big part of the show.
Also, now, so that was the descriptions I've been reading are from Heart Gold and Soul Silver. This one's from another game, actually. This one's from Let's Go Pikachu. The international port town where magnificent boats gather from across the world.
I like that even better.
Yeah, that adds a lot of culture. That's interesting.
Yep. And if you have not seen the first season of Pokemon, you may not know that there's a Titanic situation in
I forgot about that.
The one time they go on a cruise ship, the Pokemon battle, and they accidentally crash the ship, and everybody escapes, I think.
Yeah, everybody gets
out.
It's
like a high intensity. Oh my gosh. Everybody could die right here.
Yeah, that's right.
Pokemon, so the idea of battling with Pokemon, on a ship doesn't feel like the safest thing, but the vibe of Vermilion City is very cool.
Yeah, I think so far that's my top choice. So far.
I'm right back and forth with that and Pewter, but I think probably Vermilion City. It also has it has Lieutenant Surge, who is the electric type gym leader.
Oh, and he's the reason why people think that Pokemon is a post-apocalyptic world, because he's like an army guy and he's the only he said something about losing someone in the war in his opening line. He really did. I forgot what he said.
Yeah, that's true. Is that like a hint that there was some kind of a war before everything? Yeah. All right, there's something to that. I mean, listen, we're about to talk about the power plant, so I feel like
really?
There's some connective tissue there. Well, yeah, because how the game works, and I think maybe this is even how they did it in the anime, is that you kind of go back to Cerulean, but then you turn toward the power plant.
Yeah,
and
up and around.
And then you go through a cave. Yeah, so the power plant, I will mention, is where you can find Zapdos, that is one of the legendary birds. What do you think of the idea of legendary Pokemon as a concept?
First of all, I love legendary Pokemon, obviously. Like, Mew is one of my favorites. Mew's a little special, but in general, I think legendary Pokemon are cool. Like, I tend to like them. You know what I mean? I usually... I do think that it's, lame to have legendary Pokemon consist of your team or your favorites. But I can't help but also just love how epic they are. And part of it is because I think the way that they design Pokemon makes them feel very, mythological. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're like cryptids, kinda.
Yeah, Regigigas has all of this, grass coming off of him. He looks like he, came right out of Castle in the Sky. You've got, the Hoenn legendaries with their element thing going on. And, Rayquaza shows up out of the sky and splits the ocean in this, Earth and saves humanity. It's so epic. And then you've got, Mew and the whole origin story with, Pokemon and Mewtwo, the, scientific human-made clone. There's just so much great lore with the legendaries. It's really, the second Pokemon movie was kick-ass. Actually, a lot of them Pokemon movies are kind of good. Not gonna lie. Yeah, no, I think that's one of the most fun parts of of the series. That being said, I know I just gave it so much hype. The fact that Zapdos just kind of hangs around a power plant feels a little lame in comparison.
Interesting. Okay.
You know what I mean? Because like Moltres is in like a volcano. Articuno is at the top of this like hard to get to icy mountain. It's like Zapdos is just hanging out around the corner of the power plant.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just-
so
just-
they get better at this.
they do.
I think in the future generations, we're going to talk even more about how interesting some of the puzzles and the archaeology and the mythos builds
Yeah.
to get you into this.
It gets so good, especially Gen 2. It gets so good.
Yeah,
Who's your favorite legendary from this generation? Which one would you like if you could have one in your party? Which one would you choose?
Articuno a million times over.
Yeah,
Put Articuno
that-
over all of the other legendaries in every other generation.
What? Really? They're your favorite?
So as a kid, I was
I didn't know.
fascinated. So, and remember, I grew up when Pokemon was getting big. I was the 5-year-old when every other 5-year-old at kindergarten was watching the original Pokemon anime when the games were coming out.
Yeah.
Like I was right there as this thing was building.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Pokemon cards were a thing. And I wanted the Articuno card so bad.
Yeah.
And it blew me away.
Yeah.
And
That's a
one
good
day
card.
Mom did we found a card store at the mall and they had one and she bought it for me. And I was so happy.
Wow.
Yeah.
God, I
just
wish
asked,
we still had those.
do you have an Articuno? And the guy he just flips it like he had it ready like a magician.
It's just in his pocket. He's like, I knew someone was gonna come in and ask for this specific Articuno.
Yeah,
That's
he's like, this sucker of a kid looks like he wants an Articuno card. I'm gonna have that ready.
We've got all the fake ones in this pocket. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and I look right up into Mom's eyes, and I'm like, oh, and she's like, I'm not getting out of this store, whether I say no or yes. So I may as well say yes now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Anyway,
Nice.
the design of Articuno, the ice bird, it's like it
Yeah.
still to me creates a sense of magic.
Yeah.
So we'll have a tiny chance to talk about Articuno again, but Power Plant is not interesting to me other than Zapdos.
Same. Even with Zapdos, I love Zapdos. Zapdos might be my. See, I don't know. All the legendary birds are very equal for me in terms of how much I like them.
Yeah, you give Zapdos energy.
Yeah.
You got that electric punk alternative thing going on. Don't say that you don't.
I'll take it.
I
like Moltres, and like Articuno is so elegant, and Moltres is hot. I'm just kidding. I shouldn't say that about a Pokemon on the internet.
Well, they're kind of going for that, honestly. Like, listen, the Pokemon are designed to be vibes of what we think of personality traits in people
That's
because
true.
they're meant to be very human.
Yeah, that is why people connect with them so much in that way, I think, too.
Yeah, so maybe the better word is just cool. It's
that's
trying to
what I
look
meant.
very like slick and yeah. Now, after that, we sort of go through a rock tunnel. There's like a lot of rock Pokemon. I was never interested
Dude, the rock
in.
tunnels suck. Get Zubat away from me. I don't need to see another Zubat as long as I live.
Yeah, the caves never did anything. The idea of finding cool gemstones is fine, but just regular rocks and stones everywhere, I'm like, can take or leave it.
If there was a mechanism where you could find fossils easier, I would be more about it. But
yeah, I think that's true
that
too.
didn't happen until later, so.
The Ghost Tower. Oh, I'm a little bit ahead of myself. We're in Lavender Town when we get through that.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Lavender Town is very, very interesting. It does not have a gym leader. It doesn't have a place for you to battle. But it does have ghosts.
Yes. So I don't want to blow the ending, but I might end up sticking here for the whole
Really?
thing. I love Lavender Town. I love the creepy music. I watched a video talking about they designed this music specifically to be unsettling, and they did a great job with it.
Yeah.
When there's this whole Pokemon graveyard in addition to the Spirit Tower. So I could also work with the dead and dying, which is something that I'm kind of passionate about. So I think that would be a really interesting experience, and work with people grieving and stuff. And that gives a lot of meaning to what I would want to do while I was there. You know,
Wow.
because like if I'm gonna choose something like really vast and explorative in the Pokemon world, I'm probably gonna wait for a later generation where we can explore more of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see that.
So for Gen 1, being in this super mystical world where we have crazy ghost Pokemon, I think being in this like, you know, spirit tower would be really cool. I would love that.
All right, I love it.
And that's where you find Ghastly.
Yeah, because we do have what is called Pokemon Tower. I just called it the Ghost Tower.
Oh, I thought
Um,
it was the spirit tower. We were all wrong.
yeah, either way, the important thing is that you are kind of going through this multi-level place with ghost Pokemon and these forgotten souls.
Yeah.
And look, it's awesome from a game perspective. I feel like it would be pretty spooky in real life. But what's interesting again about Pokemon, the idea of these legendaries, this mythology, these ghosts, it's part of the world. It's not, people acknowledge that this is real. They do find it
Yeah.
unsettling. They do find it misunderstood. Like, we need to learn more about this.
Yeah.
But it's part of it and it's cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I would live here. I think it's just a
Yeah.
little bit too dark and
I didn't think you would
unsettling for
either.
me.
It's so
I
cool though. It's
well,
just
and it's
dead
something,
stuff. We need to know more about dead stuff.
and let me say this about it. And I'm gonna say I might attribute this more to being even somewhat a cultural thing, where I think a lot of the time the Japanese are very respectful about the ways that they portray the dead.
Yeah, sure.
Um, but this is I love spooky Halloween things that are just fun and stupid, but this is a very like solemn, respectful place where the dead are respected. It's not like a cartoonified version of Ghost and Halloween,
No,
really.
I mean, it is a little bit when like Haunter shows up and licks Ash in the back. You know
Okay,
what I'm
that's
talking
true.
about?
That's fair.
But they do play it more serious, like it is a little creepy and unsettling. It's not like a big tourist destination or anything. That's true.
To be fair, Lick is an actual like move that Pokemon use to
There's no
paralyze their
there's
foe.
no explaining that.
All right, I tried.
The fact
Um,
that Lick paralyzes you is even more suspicious, dude.
Yeah, let's not get into the intricacies of some of the other things that Pokemon moves do. That's for Reddit to decide
Oh
and
my
many
god.
others.
The title
So,
of this video, we can't stop talking about furries? No, I'm just kidding.
whoa. I didn't even think that we were going to go that far. I thought you were maybe going to say licking or Zapdos. Let's go to Celadon City,
Okay, let's go there.
where we have the Celadon Game Tower.
Wait. I didn't read the description of Lavender Town.
Oh, that's very important.
A
Sorry.
small town covered in a beautiful hue of purple. Yeah, that was probably like the most obvious of any of the ones that we've read so far.
Yeah. Pretty much nailed it.
Yeah. Also, I love the color purple. Bonus points.
Yeah.
Okay,
me as well.
Celadon City. A rich rainbow-colored city where people and Pokemon gather. So a city.
I really like Celadon City. I think it's probably the biggest city, and that turns me off of it a little bit. But a big city in Pokemon, it's about to get worse in future generations. Let me say that. There's some big cities that I hate.
Really?
Hate.
Do you hate Goldenrod?
Goldenrod, I wouldn't live there, but I don't hate it. There's some
Okay.
in the future games, they get so bad. They're too vast, and then they don't
Oh.
have anything going on outside. Yeah.
Oh, I know one of the ones you're talking about. I can't
They're
remember what
very
it's called.
frustrating to me.
Yeah.
Goldenrod's okay. Celadon, though, as far as big cities go, I like it. There's a lot of shops.
Yeah.
I really like the Celadon game tower from a game perspective, but I also hate casinos and gambling.
I was gonna say, I'm like, see, I would want so badly to get like if they're actually offering like Porygon as prizes and stuff. Like that's I don't think casinos realize how much they're missing out on like adult children who just want to play games. Because like for me, the whole thing about casinos not being fun is the games just aren't fun. You know what I mean? Like if you had a situation where I could play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and bet on it, you better believe I would be spending way too much time and money there. It would be awesome. I would love that.
Okay, this is interesting. Here's the thing. Casinos are built to be efficient so that you can spend money very fast
Yeah,
and have
of
it be
course.
over very quickly and just keep cycling through.
See, that's boring for me, right? And that's the issue with this one here is what's the game that they have? Because if you had Voltorb Switch in this casino, like I'm here for it. Voltorb Switch is like fun. I like that game.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
just the slots, like, nah, dude. I'm not gonna sit there trying to get a Porygon for like all of my money. You would just lose.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't do it.
I
You'd
mean,
be so
when the
tempted.
result is much faster, it's a lot more addictive, I think.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's how
I,
they get
I
you.
I think that yeah that if you don't have like protagonist energy, you're not gonna get that Porygon.
Sure. We also have the grass type gym leader here.
Yeah,
It
that's
does
right.
not feel like there is a lot of nature despite that. It is still kind of like just lots of shops and houses and things.
Yeah.
Uh, this is also where you find a Snorlax that is just sleeping and you have to play a Poke Flute to wake it up and hopefully catch it. Otherwise, you don't.
Oh
I think
yeah,
you maybe see one other one again later.
that's right. That's
I like
cool.
Snorlax.
I like
I think
Snorlax too.
Snorlax is great.
I think Snorlax is a great Pokemon. He's also like really good technically, you know, like in a
Yeah.
battle, like super tanky. You can heal, give him leftovers, give him rest.
Yeah.
He's a
Very
menace.
frustrating to battle against.
Very frustrating to battle against. So if you do go the battle route, that's a good one to have. At this point in the story, are there any other Pokemon you've picked up?
Oh, that's a good question. So I was gonna kind of save this discussion for the end,
Oh, okay.
just because I thought through 3 different rosters
Oh,
that I kind of
whoa.
want to accumulate.
Okay.
Uh, it's a good question
I've
though.
got like two that I probably would go with.
Let me let you answer it your way, and I'll save mine. Or have you any that you've picked up along the way?
Oh, so far, I
Like,
I already had Ghastly at the beginning, right?
mhm. If that was the thought experiment you chose to go with, or unless you wanted to just start with Charmander.
So hot take. I was gonna
Yeah.
say I would have taken an evolution, but I don't actually like any of the Gen 1 evolutions that much.
Okay. I like Vaporeon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know if we're losing people, but
The internet's just poisoned me. That's
sure.
funny.
Okay, I
Vaporeon's
get
a
that.
solid choice.
Mhm.
Genuinely. Um, would you pick Vaporeon for your team? Do you think?
I'm gonna table that. Save
Okay.
that answer.
Okay. I'm gonna say I keep thinking of Gen 2 Pokemon. I literally like, oh, I would have had Noctowl or, you know, Elekid or I keep, but I can't work with that. I maybe would have wanted to get Electabuzz if I could have at this point.
Same. I'll spoil that.
I
Yeah.
think Electabuzz is pretty good.
Electabuzz is one of my all-time faves.
Really? I didn't know that. Wow, I'm
Mhm.
learning so much about your Pokemon choices today.
Oh
You
yeah,
have a
you're gonna
lot
learn a
of
lot more soon.
you have a lot of Gen 1 bias. Okay, yeah, let's keep rolling then.
Gen 1 and Gen 2. Easily.
Okay.
And some Gen 3. Alright, next up. We're going to I guess Cycling Road, where you have to have a bicycle to kind of get to the next place.
Ah, yes.
Would you be a big biker in the Pokemon world, do you think?
Yeah. I'll probably bike around a lot. I mean, that's other than flying, that's your best way to travel. I just like
It's very
exercise.
sure, it's very accessible to bike.
Yeah, it's a
If
very
you
bike friendly place. Yeah, I probably would.
Mhm.
I'd bike a lot. I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want that to be my trainer moniker. You know what I mean? Because then
Sure.
you gotta walk around with a bunch of electric Pokemon.
Right.
I don't want
Well,
that.
yeah, that's fair. I also the bikers that you see, you know how they brand all of the people like it's Biker Dave,
Oh yeah,
and
that's right.
he's just a big beefy bald guy
That's
who's
right.
got
I
a
forgot about
scowl on
those
his face.
I was thinking of like the cool trainer bikers, but you're right. That they when they call them bikers, that is what they look like. That's so funny.
True. Yeah, cool trainers are like the heroic version of it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I would be in the biker gang then.
Yeah, checks out
Yeah.
with your Zapdos.
Yeah, exactly. With my Zapdos.
Next up, so we take that and we get to Fuchsia City, and this is very interesting, and I'm guessing you know why, but tell me the description.
A historic village that has become new. What does that even mean?
All right, we started off. I'm like, this is good. I like these, and
Yeah,
now I'm
these
like, all
are
right,
getting kind of dumb.
good try,
The
good try.
last three haven't been very good. All right.
Yeah, we have a gym leader who has poison types, and he's kind of
that's
got
right.
like it's like a dojo type vibe a little bit.
Oh, I do
Uh,
like this gym leader.
sure, his name's Koga. But what's interesting to me about Fuchsia City is not that. It is 100% that the Safari Zone is here. Do you want to talk to people a little bit about the Safari Zone?
Oh yeah, it's like a wild park where you can take the animals you see home.
Okay, you're right.
I can't think of a better description than that.
Yeah,
But
you go in, you pay a little fee, and then you try to catch as many Pokemon as you can.
yeah. And you know, I don't think you could find that many cool Pokemon in it in Gen 1, can you?
Original Safari Zone was so frustrating before the games thought about their mechanisms better because you would spend so much time looking for the one thing you wanted,
Yeah.
and you can't the Pokemon can just run away. It works differently than any other thing that you do. So you can either throw a rock at it to try to like,
That's
I don't
right.
know,
That's
maybe
right.
throw it off. But a lot of the time that makes it run. You could
Yep.
try to give it bait to get it to come closer to you.
What I remember how it worked. The bait makes them stay longer but harder to catch, and the rocks make them easier to catch, but the chance of them leaving is higher.
Okay, that's interesting. And I never even knew that. But either way, that makes it very hard to get anything. And if you've spent all this time searching and you get your Kangaskhan, which was kind of like the big one that everybody wanted,
Oh my god. I'm looking
you
at the
missed it.
dude, I'm literally looking at the catch rates for this, and they are abysmal. Yeah, Kangaskhan had a 1% catch rate. Lickitung has a
Yikes.
1% in some zones. Tangela has a 1%.
Wow. Well, I bet that it felt better than that, but it might be because you were using rocks and bait and things to help.
Well, and there
Um,
are just less Pokemon in general, so like 1% still takes up. It's still more often than 1% would mean in like Diamond and Pearl, where there's like, 40 Pokemon or something. There's a lot. So like 1% is less
so wait,
often.
is the catch rate just how often they show up compared to other Pokemon?
Or I'm sorry, not catch rate. I meant the appearance rate. My bad.
Oh, okay. That's very different to me.
No, yeah.
Um, all right.
Scyther
So
1%. So many of the cool Pokemon you can almost never run into, and then catching them is
yeah.
freaking impossible because they're
Yeah,
also like high level.
and so originally the Safari Zone was cool because there were a lot of Pokemon you could not find anywhere else. I
Yeah.
think future versions of it got worse.
Oh, really?
Uh, I, yeah, I mean, there's a Marsh one that I'm like, there was never anything that I wanted
Oh,
there.
you didn't like the Gen 4 Marsh? I liked it okay. Krogunk is
Nah,
cool.
he was the only one. Um,
Wow. Wow.
the uh, the idea of being a person in this city, being able to go into the Safari Zone and kind of explore around and physically do this, honestly sounds very, very cool. Like,
Yeah.
I think this sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, you get to work with, different Pokemon. A lot of really cool ones from Gen 1 too. You got
Hmm.
Taurus, you got Dratini in here, you got Slowpoke in here.
Yeah, there's a
Rhyhorn,
lot. Like,
Parasect.
it's a lot of fun. There was also a myth that emerged in this Fuchsia City area about surfing Pikachu that a lot of people thought that they might be able to get into their game, and I don't believe that was ever true.
Wait, no, Surfing Pikachu is a thing eventually. I don't know if the
I
meme came after, because there was the Surfing Pikachu Pokemon card. Remember that one? The old,
Mhm.
like,
I think that's why the myth emerged. It was because there's a Pokemon card and everyone was wondering, "Oh, can you do it in the game?"
my
And I don't
god.
think so.
It was literally called Surfing Pikachu. That's so funny.
Yeah.
You
There was
could actually get a Pikachu that knows surf and does surf on a surfboard in Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. And
really,
Yellow.
that was a real rumor?
Yeah, that's a real
All right.
thing.
Let's touch base on that afterwards. I need to know how
Yeah.
because let me also say some of these original Pokemon games before they got reboots and updates,
Yeah.
they had a lot of glitches and random things in them and
Oh,
cheat codes.
we could get missing number.
Yeah, there was a glitch. You could catch a Pokemon that was called. People would say Masigno when I was a kid, but it meant it was missing number, as in this Pokemon does not exist. It's just data,
Yeah.
and you could catch it.
Yep. It looked like a blurred out middle finger to me always.
Yeah, there were rumors that it was bad for your game, and I don't think that was ever true. Like,
Nope.
I think you could still go forward.
I mean, your game could crash, but it would be okay. It wouldn't like
Yeah,
break. You might just have to restart.
man, I want to find a video of like a bunch of those old Pokemon quirks. There were some weird
Oh,
cheat
there's
codes that
good ones.
exist,
Yeah. I
and
mean, you used
I,
a cheat code to get Mew. Or
yeah,
not
there was a
code,
way to
but
get there's a way to get Mew in Pokemon Yellow that was the weirdest, most wild roundabout thing.
Yeah.
You would not believe it even was true if I
Yeah.
hadn't done it for myself.
Yeah.
Uh,
Honestly, the fact that how did somebody even figure that out is
it's
my
a good question. It's a good. Anyway, now we're really nerding out here, but
Yeah.
old video games used to have so many fun things that you could find like that.
They still
And
do. They still do.
so, all right, yeah. Some places are still thinking about it, but a lot of the time it's not because of a glitch. It's just because the game creators are that good
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
they're
that's
thinking
true.
about Easter eggs. I
Yeah.
liked when you found these things because they weren't supposed to be there and there was just a funky
Yeah.
thing that you could get the game to do.
Well, and a lot of people listening to this, like, we didn't have internet really. Like, I mean, we did, but we didn't have like chat rooms or like, Discord servers or YouTube or anything like that. So, like, if I wonder if a glitch is real, I could just look it up and find out if it's real because there are people who dedicate their lives to exploiting glitches in games now,
Yeah.
And it's like,
AOL was like just starting.
yeah, like and it's not like you're gonna. I mean, some people probably did find email communities to talk about games, but like, it's very unlikely that your casual gamer is going to do anything like that. So anytime you hear a rumor, there's a little part of you that's like, "Yo, this is possible. I gotta try it."
Sure. And there were like websites that emerged trying to like give you all the cheat codes for all the games, and people would
Yeah.
submit things, and then other people would debunk it, and then it would be like, wait, no, this is real. It's an interesting time in video games.
Yeah.
Well, we're really getting more into gaming. I feel like I knew that this was going to happen a little bit because I know the games just a little bit better.
I've just been playing the games so much lately too.
I know, but like I really want to like make sure it's clear the physical ability to go into a safari zone and throw Pokeballs and like have a little safari hat and just like peer over from a corner and try to catch a Kangaskhan. That's pretty cool.
You're so silly.
Yeah. The sillier the better.
I agree.
All right. So then we've got Saffron City that was kind of in the middle of all of these places. And this is another city to me. It does have a literal dojo where you can like try to win a fighting Pokemon. And it also has Sylph Company, which had a bunch of Team Rocket activity going on, which really was just a corporation building.
Yeah.
I don't have that much to say on Saffron City. But what does the description say?
It says the biggest city in Kanto, shining with a golden light. Yeah,
no.
yeah. we're not city people, not like
Yeah.
big city people. It's not really my thing. But the
Right,
next one's pretty
Celadon-
interesting.
Celadon was close, but it's got gambling. I never want to live in Vegas.
Yeah,
no offense to
exactly.
anybody who lives there or likes it. But it's just not my jam. Yeah, I guess the one interesting thing, starting in the next generation, there ends up being a magnet train that goes back and forth, but that's probably not worth talking about because we're
Yeah.
not there yet.
Yeah, that doesn't exist yet.
Cinnabar Island.
Yes.
I think this is south of Pallet Town. Very interesting.
Whoa, a town. This is the most like. All right, a town used to be here until it was swept away by an eruption.
Yeah.
That is the only town that's like, don't live here.
Well, and you know what sucks? Cinnabar Island was really cool. It was just like this little volcanic island that had a.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it was purely a museum, but there was some stuff that you could do with fossils there, I think.
Yeah, you can get fossils there. There's a mansion there that you could get. That's where they made Mewtwo. That canonically, they made Mewtwo
okay.
on Cinnabar Island.
So it may have even been run down already in the beginning, but by generation 2, I think it's just like in shambles.
It was
if I
a
remember
lab.
correctly.
It was the Cinnabar lab that was there.
Okay, you're right. That's what I'm thinking of. And that's interesting.
Yeah, that's cool that you can do that. Apparently, the Cinnabar lab also created Porygon, and I'm pretty sure they created Ditto too, because Ditto were failed Mew clones.
Wow. See, I think it's really cool that there are physical breathing Pokemon that were just failed experiments. Like the entire Pokemon lore, there's a lot to it.
It
People
really
like
is.
I need to look more into the stuff like that because honestly, the anime almost doesn't even explore it as much as they could.
No way. Oh yeah, I've watched so many lore videos on YouTube, man. There's a lot. It is great. It is a good meme.
Can I know we're already talking a lot. Could I ask, is the Pokemon anime, is the Pokemon Company missing out on a great anime that they could make that is different from the formulas that they've already
Oh,
explored?
dude. My answer to that is read the Pokemon manga.
Interesting.
There is a Pokemon manga where not Ash, but Red is the protagonist, like from the games.
Yeah.
And it's not like a kid's like Pokemon die, like it's a real like high stakes like world where these people are like having serious fights and the crime can really mess you up. It's very good.
Whoa.
Like I
I had
recommend the
no
manga.
idea.
So yes, there is. There absolutely. If they animated that, I don't. Maybe they did. I haven't seen anything about it. But if that was animated, I would love that. I would watch that tomorrow.
Sure.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think just playing more with the emotional complexity. I love how silly Pokemon is sometimes, but I think it does get a little bit stale.
Yeah.
And I've seen them try to spice it up and liked certain things a lot and other things not as much.
Yeah. Read the manga.
I
I gotta
I'd
look up what
be
it's called.
I don't know what the right thing is, but I do feel like there's a lot more that could be done. So I wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. It's called Red
And
Adventures.
cool. All right. There's a plug. If anybody wants to look that up, might be of interest to you. So next, I want to talk about the Seafoam Islands. That is where you find Articuno. I still feel like this is too close to the volcanic activity. I'm nervous already about Cinnabar
Yeah.
Island at this
So
stage.
here's the thing. This is where my Gen 1 bias comes in. Vulpix and Growlithe are both two of my favorite Pokemon in like the whole game total.
Yeah.
I freaking love these little fire creatures. They're so cute. Ninetales has like the mythical nine-tailed fox energy, which I think is awesome. Arcanine is just, awesome big doggo that you can like ride. They're cool. They're fire doggo. Who doesn't like fire doggo? And I just like love how it's designed. I love that the lab where they tried to create Mew is out there. I feel like I would have been like Mewtwo. I feel like I would have been part of that. I actually really love it out here. It's tough because if you had asked if the volcanic activity wasn't in the description and you had been asking me like 20 years earlier and they're just like, oh, this is a sprouting up city off the coast of the Kanto region where there's a lab where they're creating potentially new Pokemon, if you described it that way, I'd be there for sure. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just the fact that now it's like, oh, this is actually Pompeii. It makes it feel less good.
No, I get it.
But it's
I mean,
close.
well, let's pretend for a second that we don't have the foresight of knowing that this whole place is about to be like in a lot of trouble. I guess it's already in some shambles. But I get the appeal of trying to go to a place like that where it's just a little bit quieter. I can see it being somber. But it would be hella fun to visit, at least.
Yeah. I'm not an island person in general. I think even if it had all those cool things going for it, I think islands are tough for me.
Sure.
Because I like close access to exploring too much.
I get it. I mean, I think that the exploration part of this is always going to be the number one appeal.
Yeah.
And in some ways, it makes you want to wait a little bit to pick a place in the Pokemon world.
Yeah.
Because you know that the farther that you go, the more expansive it gets. But I do think there is such a thing as too expansive, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Cinnabar Island, and it made me curious. Based on the roster that I was thinking about trying to travel with before we started and what I was about to share.
Yeah.
Do I have a Pokemon that can surf? And I think yes, because it occurred to me, if you're going to carry 6 Pokemon around, you're going to probably want one that can fly, one that can surf, one that can kind of do a lot of the things that is going to help you get around, right?
Snorlax can learn surf. Didn't you say you wanted Snorlax?
Well, I love Snorlax, but I'm not sure. I thought about Snorlax later.
Oh.
Can we talk about that? I'm ready to talk about it.
The teams?
Yeah.
Let's do it. What do you got?
So this is what I drafted up, okay? I thought to myself, I love water Pokemon, so I would like to have, if I was living here, in Vermilion City, kind of like a Pokemon pool area, or like maybe even a little water paradise water park thing that I'm making for my buddies.
Sure.
Where I've got kind of a roster of 6 specific water Pokemon that sort of frequent this area.
Okay.
And I'm giving them before they evolve. I don't know how much evolution I would want to do or not.
Okay.
But this is where if you don't know Pokemon that well, you are going to get very confused. But if you know, you know. Krabby, of course.
Okay.
Squirtle, which I could have started with.
Okay.
Seal.
Okay.
Poliwag. I love Poliwag,
Really?
but not Poliwrath. Yep.
But you wouldn't evolve them. Okay.
I would at least get him to Poliwhirl, and then in Gen 2, maybe go to Politoed.
Yeah, Politoed's cool.
Lapras, fantastic.
Okay.
Your Nessie,
Yeah.
it's a little bit mythological.
Yeah.
And then, even though it's not a water Pokemon technically, I think Dratini would be fun to have here too.
Okay. I love Dratini. Dratini's a great design. I also don't like Dragonair as much, so valid.
Yeah, I felt like I needed to separate the water Pokemon because I love them so much that I can never pick one.
So are you saying, are you assuming no legendaries? Because I didn't see Articuno on there.
I am assuming no legendaries because realistically, the idea of catching a legendary is going to be next to impossible if we're living in the anime. There
Not
are
for
Master
me.
Balls. It is doable.
Mew's just going to be my friend.
That's enough. So then I would remove the water Pokemon from it, and then I would have my regular roster, which would be Vulpix or probably Ninetales eventually. Again, I'm not talking about the evolutions. Doduo is my favorite bird.
Really?
Wait, can Doduo fly?
Yeah, Doduo legs fly, even though they don't have wings.
Good. Okay,
so
we're fine there.
That image is hilarious.
Electabuzz, Porygon, Tangela, and Kabuto. And that's the one I was looking up. I think that Kabutops can learn Surf once the evolution happens.
They can.
So that would be my way around that one.
Okay.
And so then I've got my non-waters, I've got my waters, and then I have 6 backups that are just Pokemon I really like, but I wouldn't necessarily have.
Damn, you came prepared.
I did. I've got Farfetch'd, Grimer, Lickitung.
Oh my god.
Magmar. I know, these are the weird ones.
This is a cringe list.
Abra and Bulbasaur.
Okay, the last 3 on there are legit. Why are Grimer and Lickitung in there?
See, because those are the ones that I know they're not fun. Like, I don't care about battling. That's the number one thing.
That's nothing to do with battling. What? What?
So I have an affinity for a lot of these early Pokemon because of how I experienced them watching the cartoon as a kid.
That's fair.
And Lickitung, I remember thinking, oh wow, that's awesome because it's obscure. I liked the obscure ones that didn't make that many appearances. I thought it was fun that Ash caught Pokemon that did not end up in his party, and then they became important later. So that's where Grimer comes in, or Muck, technically. You know, I don't know. I ended up liking some of them. And then you've also got your like Snorlax that is fantastic and would be great for battles. But I'm not thinking about this from a battle perspective. I just want to take around the Pokemon I like the best.
Yeah, see, I've got 2 different lists for if I think about the battle factor. Because if I think about the battle factor, I'd probably take Venusaur, Snorlax, Gyarados.
Sure.
I mean, if we're talking purely battle, you know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I should have said the final evolutions of everything. Many of mine didn't even evolve though. It's like they didn't have evolutions as of this.
Well,
first
I mean,
iteration.
for the battle one, I would evolve them. I might not if I don't do it for battle purposes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who else would I throw on there? Probably Alakazam.
Yeah,
because
I put that as a backup. Well, I said Abra, but who evolves into Alakazam just because that's my screen name for a lot of different things. Alakazam.
Sure. Yeah.
Like cheeky.
No, I already have Gyarados. Man, those 4 are already so. I guess if we're talking like battle, I would probably do Dragonair
or Dragonite.
Or Dragonite, yeah. Already said Snorlax. And then I guess for the last one, I would do. Let's put Raichu on there. So that's the battle one.
Okay.
But the one that I'd go with for funsies, I think I'm not taking Mew, right? Mew's just my 7th friend. Is that what we're assuming?
That's totally fine. Yep.
I will take Ditto because Ditto is cool.
Fun.
Uh, I will take. I'm looking at the list right now.
Sure.
Oh, obviously, I'll take Vulpix.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll take Vulpix even. I don't even think I'll evolve them. I love Vulpix design. I'll take Arcanine, Gengar. I think I'll do. I think I'll do Marowak. Marowak's cool. And
Okay.
then I think for my 6th, I'll have Scyther.
Oh, fun. Okay. I love Scyther. I love Scissor for the next iteration.
Yeah.
Which, if people like this, we will cover the next generation. So let us know if you had fun here.
Yes.
Do you have more to say on your list?
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna switch Porygon with who would I switch out though? I'll do Porygon over Scyther.
Okay.
Because I love Porygon. Okay. Porygon's cool as hell. Oh shoot, no, and then I want Aerodactyl too. This is actually really hard.
It is hard. Yeah, I forgot about Aerodactyl. He might have made my list or gotten close.
I think.
I didn't even think about a battle one. Maybe I should have.
I'll take Aerodactyl over. I guess I'll take them over Arcanine. I prefer Vulpix.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of where I was at too. All right. Tell us, everybody, what your rosters would be if you were in the first generation of Pokemon, and whether you would like to see another version of this podcast with at least generation 2 and 3.
Where would you live? Have you decided?
Oh man, I totally skipped over the ending.
Yeah.
No, I did say. I said Vermilion City with a little water park for my Pokemon.
With a little water park for your water type Pokemon.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I don't know. Maybe I could run the water park and let other people bring theirs too. I know a lot about theme parks since I worked at one.
That's actually an awesome choice. You would run a water type theme park in Kanto. Dude, that's kind of based. That's actually pretty based. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds really cool. Okay.
However, I'm not gonna do it.
You're not gonna move?
I'm not leaving our Inside Out mind just yet. We just got there.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Here's my problem. I have a very strong feeling that when we go to the next generation, I'm going to be going there because that's where a bunch of my favorite Pokemon are, where a bunch of my favorite memories are.
Yeah, but I know, me too.
I'm going to say that we visited, we made a bunch of catches, and then I'm going to carry some of these over when we visit the next place, which I think that eventually we will do.
So there's a reason why I'm particularly in love with this one.
Okay.
So guys, I love Mew.
Yeah.
I think Mew is so cool, and the idea that I could be friends with Mew is so cool. So I'm out here. You know how the last time I was in Pokemon, I said I would be a researcher?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm sticking with that.
Are you going to leave Inside Out already?
I might, dude. I might.
We just entered this together. We were like, we're going to operate somebody's control panel in their heads.
Mew
you and I next to each other.
Though. Mew could be my little buddy, specifically in the Kanto region. See, that's where my limit is, right? Because, like, the Kanto, I'm not as excited about. Okay, so where I would be is I would probably be, like, a Pokemon researcher that would staple up in... probably Lavender Town, because I could study ghosts, and I think ghost type Pokemon are really interesting. I'd probably travel a lot. I'd bike a lot still. I'd go to that island because it's interesting as well. And I think I would be a researcher. And I would have that team with all the favorites. But Mew would also be like my best friend. Like he would find out that I was researching and would be like, oh, this guy's kind of cool. He's into this. I'm just going to be his friend. And he'd realize that I was respectful and wasn't going to try to trap him like they did to try to make Mew too. He'd be like, this one's a cool scientist guy. You see in the story I'm putting out here? Okay.
I get what you're doing.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yep. Okay. So Mew is my best friend. He just floats around and hangs out and teleports me places, and we go on adventures together, and it's awesome. You tell me you don't choose that life. Come on, you can't.
I get it.
You can't say that you don't choose it. It's so
go
good.
ahead. Okay, listen, here's the thing. Choose the life, but if you and I are not going to be doing the inside out thing together, I am also jumping ship. Because the fun of it for me is you being Zen and me being nostalgia and us working together. If we're not working together, I'm out.
Shoot, I was Zen. And being Zen is so important to me.
You could be Zen with Mew.
I could, but I wouldn't. God, hanging out with Mew would be so cool. I just got this tattoo. It's just making me want to do it even more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving. I'm doing it. I want to hang out with Mew so bad. I'm probably gonna move again really soon, but like, I'm really drawn by the research. I know that I practically moved back to something I was already doing.
Yeah. So I'm very dead set on creating my Pokemon water park for the water types.
That would be really cool.
I'm worried about locking myself into Vermilion City because it's going to be a big hassle to take that whole setup and move to another town unless I'm franchising.
I mean, you can franchise. I'll bet you they put one on the sea. The what's that town? The Orange Sunset one. You could get one there.
Oh boy. All right, I'm going to do it. I am going to do it because I think that's an awesome idea. It's one that I love, and I can expand it to some other Pokemon soon. And I'm going to franchise. That's going to be it.
My God.
And then I get to pick which one I actually live at and operate.
Okay, so guys, we're obviously going to talk about all the other Pokemon generations. And since we are deciding to move there for this, even if we end up changing to another show later, like, are we planning on doing all of these in a row, like every Pokemon gen, or do you just want to go back to it at some point?
Can I have maybe the audience can help us decide.
Yeah, let us know. If you're this invested and you made it this far, let us know in the comments or Discord or wherever.
Yeah, if we don't hear from you at all, then we're going to feel like nobody made it this far, and we're going to be sad. So please tell us.
I won't feel that way. I won't even remember we said this.
Yeah, me neither.
So,
But seriously, put your 2 cents in. It will help us make a choice.
Yes, it will help us make a choice, because I don't know what we want to do. But regardless, I'm going to keep this in mind for where we go, because we could take this storyline of moving here and making this life and just branching it out to the future ones that we do. Well, and I love that idea.
There's part of me that wants to keep mixing it up and getting back, but then there's also part of me that feels like we're just going to keep moving back to Pokemon unless we do all of it at once, pick where we're living, and then decide whether we leave after it. So,
you know what? No, I'm building my character for this plot line right now. Ready? So this guy's name, what's his name going to be? What do you think we should go with for a name? Yeah, I'm already. I don't even have the first part.
This is literally the first part of the game. It's like, crap, I can't even figure out what the guy's name is going to be. How am I supposed to get to the game?
Dude, I will sit there and choose, like, for 20 minutes a Pokemon name sometimes.
How about Marvin?
I like that. All right. I'm Marvin. And I've got Mew as my little buddy. Marvin the Pokemon researcher. And I hang out with Mew, and we go around Gen 1 studying ghosts and fossils and trying to learn about Pokemon. And Professor Oak's kind of a dick, but we hang out with him anyway because he's got all the resources.
My name is Alec, and I'm bringing Disney to the Pokemon world.
Wow.
Disneyland, water park, we got it all.
You would. I'm here for science.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. I want to be a tree because we've got Professor Oak and Elm and all these people, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to be Professor... I'm going to be Professor...
Why do you need to change your name? Just be Professor Lou.
No, because they're trees. I've got to be a tree.
Okay.
Like all the other professors. They're all trees. They've clearly chose their name. They're not all related.
Yeah. Professor Willow. I think there might already be a Willow.
Yeah, I think there is. No, I'm gonna do I'm gonna be Maple. Professor Maple.
I love that.
Yeah.
Professor
Maple, let's go! I'm hyped.
Well, the downside to the way that we've changed our recording system is that even though it looks and sounds a lot better, I no longer can see a timer on the screen that helps me guide this in track. So it's really up to Lou to do that.
Well, and that's a mistake. This feels
like it feels like it's been long, but I hope that it's been a fun, long ride, and that you all had as much fun as we did, because I thought this was great.
If you made it this far into the podcast, so make sure to like, subscribe, and thank you everybody for watching. Become a member, and Any final words? Gotta catch
No,
them
other
all.
than just if anybody really did make it this long, I genuinely appreciate it, and I'm glad that means that you're having fun, because we do this because even though it's fun for us, it also means a lot when other people have fun with us and that you're on the ship too.
Great final words. Love it. However,
What?
I've got a Pokemon joke. Wow,
All
these are stupid. I was gonna look. Oh my god, these are so stupid. What
All right.
did one Geodude say to the other?
What?
Let's rock.
Oh,
That's
on that
so
note.
stupid. Oh
On
no,
that
wait, this
note.
one's good. Okay, this one's for the one
On
we're
that
actually.
note.
Which Pokemon could also be a pirate?
Oh.
Think about it. It's Gen 1.
Arcanine.
Arbok!
Close. All right. On that note.
What do you
Goodbye,
get when you
everyone.
cross Pikachu with porn? I'm sorry, I didn't even read it. Pika Screw. Bye,
I
everyone.
tried, everybody.
Bye,
I
also
tried.
the internet. Bye, everyone.